What if life feels exhausting? Not because your dreams are too far away, but because you're chasing them from the wrong version of yourself. There is an old truth hidden inside a simple image. If you spend your life chasing after butterflies, they fly away. But if you spend your life making a beautiful garden, the butterflies come to you. That sounds poetic, but it is not just poetry. It is psychology. It is spirituality. It is business. It is relationships. It is the law of identity. Because the truth is this: life does not only respond to what you want. Life responds to who you are becoming. You can chase love from a wounded place and call it romance. You can chase money from fear and call it ambition. You can chase attention from emptiness and call it influence. You can chase spiritual experiences from ego and call it awakening. But in every case, chasing reveals the same thing. Somewhere inside, you believe you are not already enough. And that belief becomes the invisible frequency you broadcast. This is why "don't chase, attract" is not just a quote for social media. It is a mirror. It asks a painful question. Are you trying to pull life towards you because you have not yet become the person who naturally receives it? Now, let us be clear. Not chasing does not mean sitting around waiting for the universe to deliver a perfect life. That is not spirituality. That is spiritual laziness wearing a robe. Real attraction is not passive. Real attraction is preparation. It is discipline. It is purification. It is alignment. It is becoming so rooted in your own garden that what belongs to your life recognizes you when it sees you. In the language of Jesus, seek first the kingdom and the other things are added. In the language of the Buddha, suffering begins when craving controls the mind. In the language of the Stoics, return to what is within your control. And modern psychology points in the same direction: intrinsic motivation. The kind rooted in inner meaning and alignment is different from being driven by approval, fear, or external rewards. Mindfulness research also suggests that present moment awareness is connected with deeper inner motivation. In simple language, the more conscious you become, the less your life has to be dragged by desperation. So the real question is not, how do I get the butterfly? The real question is, what kind of garden am I building? Because the butterfly is only the symbol. It may be love. It may be money. It may be peace. It may be purpose. It may be the life you imagine at night, but keep sabotaging it in the day. And the garden is you. Your habits are the soil. Your thoughts are the seeds. Your emotions are the weather. Your boundaries are the fence. Your attention is the sunlight. Your discipline is the water. Your faith is the invisible root system nobody sees until the flowers bloom. But most people want butterflies, but they do not want to tend to the garden. They want healthy love, but protect emotional immaturity. They want success, but worship comfort more than consistency. They want peace, but keep feeding the nervous system with drama and fear. They want spiritual power, but refuse spiritual honesty. And this is where we must stop lying to ourselves. You do not attract what you pretend to be. You do not attract what you post. You do not attract what you repeat in affirmations if your daily life contradicts it. You attract from the level of your identity, your choices, your standards, your nervous system, and your consciousness. A desperate person can say, "I am abundant." But desperation is still the prayer. An insecure person can say, "I am loved." But if they keep betraying themselves for crumbs, self-betrayal is still the ritual. A person can say, "I trust God. I trust the universe. I trust the source." But if their life is ruled by control, their real altar is fear. This is not to shame anyone. This is to set you free. Because the moment you stop chasing, you recover your energy. And the moment you recover your energy, you can finally use it to create. Chasing leaks power. When you chase, your attention is always outside of you. Who noticed me? Who validated me? Who liked my post? Who chose me? Who rejected me? Your soul becomes a beggar standing outside doors that were never meant to open. But when you build the garden, your attention returns home. You start asking stronger questions. What am I learning? What am I healing? What am I creating? What standard am I tolerating that my future self will never accept? That is when your life begins to change. Neuroscience often frames behavior through two dimensions, the will and the way. You need motivation, but you also need skills, habits, and systems that make change real. Desire alone is not transformation. Wanting a new life is not the same as wiring yourself for one. You cannot manifest a garden you refuse to plant. So let us make this practical. If you want love, become loving. But do not confuse love with self-abandonment. Love is a state of being, but boundaries are the structure that protects that state. If you want money, become valuable. Solve problems. Develop skills. Keep promises. Create something useful. If you create value from alignment, money becomes a tool. If you want peace, stop negotiating with chaos. Sometimes the most spiritual thing you can do is leave the room, delete the number, sleep on time, and stop giving your nervous system to people who profit from your confusion. If you want purpose, stop waiting for a lightning bolt. Purpose is uncovered through service, curiosity, discipline, and experimentation. And if you want awakening, stop chasing mystical fireworks and start telling the truth. I remember when I started a delivery business in Accra, Ghana, West Africa, some years back. In the early days, we were chasing this one major contract, like it was going to save the entire company. We gave it energy, attention, follow-ups, meetings, hope, stress, everything. In our minds, if we could just land that one deal, then we will finally be legitimate. But the more we chased, the more it seemed to move away from us. Eventually, we stopped pouring all our blood and sweat into that one door and returned to the work itself. We focused on serving the smaller businesses. We focused on being on time. We focused on honesty, integrity, consistency, and doing the job so well that people could trust us without thinking twice. And after a year or two, something interesting happened. The same kind of major company we had been chasing came back around. This time, they were the ones saying, "We want to work with you." Why? Because we have become the garden. We stopped begging one butterfly to land and started becoming excellent at what we were created to do. There is a reason ancient traditions keep returning to this same principle. In the Christian tradition, Yahshua, aka Jesus, teaches that the kingdom of God is within you, pointing to the idea that divine reality is not merely something distant to chase, but something within us to awaken to, embody, and live from. In Hinduism, Atman means the deepest self, the divine essence within a person. And Brahman means the ultimate reality, the infinite source behind all existence. So when the sages say Atman is not separate from Brahman, they are saying the spark in you is not disconnected from the fire it came from. The Buddha points to liberation from craving. The Stoic returns to virtue, self-command, and what is within one's control. The Sufi dissolves the false self in love. Jung asks us to integrate the shadow, the hidden parts of ourselves we deny but must bring into awareness. Different languages, different symbols, different eras, but the same center. Become whole, and your outer life begins to reorganize around that wholeness. But let us remove the childish version of attraction. Attraction does not mean everyone will like you. Sometimes becoming the garden repels the wrong butterflies. That is a blessing. When you heal, some people lose access to the version of you they knew how to control. When you become peaceful, chaos no longer feels exciting. It feels expensive. This is why growth can feel lonely at first. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because your old life is losing its grip before your new life has fully arrived. The seed spends time underground before it becomes visible. The garden looks empty before it looks beautiful. And this is where most people quit. They plant for 3 days, see no flowers, and go back to chasing butterflies. But the person who understands life does not panic during the invisible season. They know roots are forming. So if nothing seems to be happening, do not mistake silence for absence. Do not mistake preparation for punishment. Do not mistake delay for denial. There are parts of you being strengthened in private because the life you are asking for would crush the version of you that is still addicted to approval. You are not just trying to get what you want. You are being asked to become capable of holding it. A weak container cannot hold strong blessings. This is why some people finally get the relationship, the money, the platform, or the opportunity and then lose themselves in it. They attract the butterfly, but they had not built the garden. So the butterfly had nowhere to stay. Your real work is to become stable enough, honest enough, disciplined enough, loving enough, and awake enough that the right outcomes can remain. And this brings us to the hard truth. Your life is not transformed by what you desire occasionally. It is transformed by what you practice consistently. A garden is not built by inspiration. It is built by repeated devotion. Every day, pull one weed, one lie, one excuse, one resentment, one addiction to comparison, one habit of procrastination, one pattern of self-betrayal. Every day, plant one seed, one honest conversation, 1 hour of deep work, one act of service, one prayer, one meditation, one workout, one boundary, one courageous decision. Do not underestimate small acts done with a clean heart. Nature does not rush, but nothing in nature is lazy. Creation is patient, but it is not passive. So yes, do not chase, but do not hide behind that phrase as an excuse to avoid effort. Attracting is not doing nothing. Attracting is doing the inner and outer work from a place of wholeness instead of lack. You still send the message. You still build the business. You still study. You still train. You still take the risk. You still create the art. You still show up. The difference is you are no longer doing it to prove you are worthy. You are doing it because you remember you are a creator. That is the shift. Chasing says, if I get this, then I'll finally be enough. Attraction says, I am becoming whole, and from that wholeness, I create. Chasing says, choose me. Attraction says, I choose alignment. Chasing says, I need the whole world to validate me. Attraction says, I'll become so rooted in truth that validation becomes optional. And when validation becomes optional, you can no longer be controlled by the bait that used to hook your wounds. You stop performing for people who cannot see you. You stop shrinking for rooms that cannot hold you. You stop confusing attention with love, money with worth, business with purpose, and spiritual language with spiritual maturity. You become simple, clear, grounded, awake. That is the beautiful garden. Not perfection, not pretending, not fake enlightenment. A real garden has dirt. It has pruning. It has seasons. It has storms. It has death and rebirth. But it is alive. And that is what people feel when they meet someone who has stopped chasing and started becoming. They feel presence, peace, strength without aggression, love without neediness, ambition without desperation, and spirituality without performance. That is attractive, not because you are trying to attract, but because you are no longer leaking the energy that was meant to create your life. So today, ask yourself honestly, what butterfly have I been chasing and what garden have I been neglecting? Because the moment you take your energy back from chasing, you can place it where it belongs, into your healing, your craft, your body, your mind, your spirit, your relationships, your service, and your relationship with God, source, truth, and life itself. Build a garden, not to manipulate the butterflies. Build it because the garden is who you came here to become. And when you become the kind of person who no longer begs life to complete them, life begins meeting you differently. The right people recognize you. The right doors open with less force. The right opportunities feel less like desperation and more like resonance. So stop chasing what keeps running from the version of you that has not healed yet. Return to yourself. Clean the soil. Plant the seeds. Water the roots. Protect the fence. Let the sun in. Remove the weeds. Trust the season. The butterflies know where to go. And if they did not come, you will still be standing in a beautiful garden. That is the secret. The goal was never just to get the butterfly. The goal was to become the garden. If this message spoke to something deep in you, write this in the comments. I am building the garden. And do not write it as a slogan. Write it as a vow. If you're ready to stop chasing and start becoming, subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear it. And come back to this video whenever you forget where your power lives. It lives within you. Always has.